In this video I will show you how you can create winning ad scripts for your ecom brand without spending a dime on testing. My name is William and I've generated over 30 millions in sales for 7 to 9 figure e-commerce brands, and with that having said, let's get straight into the video. So the way we create winning ads without testing is by letting other brands that have way more budget and way more capacity to test. Then we simply take what works for them and apply it to our brand. And no, it's not direct copying, because if you just copy a bigger competitor, there's honestly no reason for customers to buy from you rather than from the competitor that you copied it from. So you have to be better. And now I'll show you how. So the first thing that you want to do is find a competitor that you actually want to learn from. You can also research multiple competitors and find their winning ads. Now you can use tools for that like AdSpy, Foreplay, Adria. I'm personally using Adria. And what you want to do is finding their brand. Now I'm looking here at Hello Alpaca Socks, and you can already see all the ads that they are running. Now what you want to do, of course, is finding their winning ads. So you want to sort it by longest running and status active, because if it's active and long running, then you can be sure it is a winning ad, because otherwise they wouldn't be running it for so long. So for example, here you can see some ads that are running from April 26, from May 7, okay, April 26, those seem to be the oldest ones. Now I already have here an ad prepared. That's an older ad from them, but also a winning ad. First of all, what you want to do is just watch it and understand its structure. Let's do it together.
Why hunters are switching to alpaca wool socks. As a hunter, there's nothing worse than wet, cold feet. Then a friend told me about hollow socks. They're 3 times warmer than sheep's wool, moisture wicking, and made in the USA. Seriously, I will never go back to sheep's wool again.
So you can see that was the winning ad. What you want to do now is write it down word by word and then analyze to understand its winning structure, because you will be able to apply this structure to your script. Now let's do it together for this ad. First of all, we have, of course, the hook. You have here a visual hook and also why hunters are switching to alpaca wool socks, right?
Why hunter?
So first of all, we have the persona called out in the hook, which is why this works really well for targeting. And then we also build curiosity. Okay, why are hunters switching to this? If you are a hunter, you think, maybe I should watch this because what's going on with this? Why are hunters actually switching to this? That's enough to hook them in. It targets the audience and it creates curiosity for them to actually watch the video. Now let's continue.
Hunters are switching to alpaca wool socks. As a hunter, there's nothing.
So as a hunter, there's nothing worse than wet, cold feet. That is an identification statement and also resonates with people that experience this pain point. So we have the identification and the pain point. With this, we have people who say, yes, this is my problem, and this is why they keep watching.
Nothing worse than wet, cold feet. Then a friend told me about.
Now we go, then a friend told me about hollow socks. So here immediately we have the product intro, which is the solution, and we will soon explain why it is the solution, and also kind of authority tied into this, because we say a friend told me about hollow socks. If this was another niche, it could be also my doctor told me, or my coach told me, or my trainer told me, or my mentor told me, right? So here are different statements that we can use. We say a friend told me. This introduces the product, but also kind of builds this kind of credibility.
Out hollow socks. They're 3 times warmer than sheep's wool, moisture wicking, and made.
So now we bombard them with 3 USPs, and those deliver on the first promise, why hunters are switching to these socks, but also give the viewer good reasons to actually go and buy them.
Made in the USA. Seriously,
and here now we have the CTA, an offer, and well, I would never go back to.
We'll never go back to sheep's wool.
To sheep's wool again. So this also calls out a failed product, or at least another product. And this kind of says, hey, we are better than sheep's wool, and most people go for sheep's wool to stay warm. So this is also kind of targeting them and saying, hey, if you are using sheep's wool, which most people might be doing, then just switch to us. And this makes people curious to actually go and try it.
Again.
And then we simply have a CTA screen. So if we write down the structure, we have first of all the visual hook, then an identification statement, then a product intro with authority, like the friend's recommendation, then the USPs, then the CTA. Now this is the winning structure. This is proven to work extremely well in the market. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. First of all, don't copy like the script word for word if you have a similar product, because, well, again, why should people buy from you? But use the proven framework and actually fill this out with your own market research. And that's how you can craft winning scripts. Let's quickly do it together so you see how I mean it. Let's say we are advertising this runner sock. And again, this is not for hunters, but for runners, okay? So it has like its own USPs. It has its own avatar, which is a bit different, right? So I've used the proven structure to actually write a new script for this sock. Let's go. So why serious runners are ditching cheap socks for performance pairs that actually last? First of all, we call out runners, right? We again build curiosity. Why are they ditching cheap socks? And then that actually last, there's already even a benefit tied into this. As a runner, there's nothing worse than blisters, sweat-soaked socks, and that nagging discomfort mid-run. Again, identification and resonating with the customers. Mentioning the pain point. That's when my coach recommended me the 50-50-50 gold socks by Sporks. Now this is, again, the product intro and authority, as I said, my coach, because that builds authority. They're engineered for performance with a perfect balance, 50% nylon for durability, 50% cool max for moisture control, and 50% style. And then even a bit of humor. Okay, the last one is just how they feel, which is also a USP. Lightweight, breathable, blister resistant, and made in Spain. Trust me, once you run in these, there's no going back to basic cotton socks. CTA screen. Now, after I've dissected this winning ad, you can probably very well imagine why this actually would work really well, and this is your winning script. You just have to execute it now. Also, if you watched until here, little surprise and bonus, this script is actually not written by me. This script is literally written by ChatGPT. All I did to do this is feeding it the original script and then saying, using the same building blocks, you need to be able to identify the building blocks, right? But using the same building blocks, write a script for and then the product link. And then it went and wrote it. One thing is I actually improved it. So for example, here that's when I found the gold socks. I said that's when my coach recommended me the gold socks, because ChatGPT kind of failed to notice the authority or like the credibility here with the friend. So I just added it in here. But else, honestly, like here you go. All you had to do is finding a winning ad, dissect it into its winning elements, and then you can go and fill like these blocks out with either your research or literally even let ChatGPT write it. Now, if you use this kind of lazy version, of course, this will be extremely similar to the original ad and maybe kind of almost copying if your product and avatar that you target is also the same. Now, because here the avatar was different, this is not the case. But else, if you have done your research, you can really just like fill this out if you're a somewhat experienced copywriter, and this will perform extremely well. If you wonder, okay, but how do I actually get this information for the building blocks that will resonate with my customers so well? Well, if that's the case, check out this video where I explain in detail how to actually find those highly resonating statements for the building blocks. Also, if you want someone to partner with you and actually help you and implement all of this for you and scale your ecom brand, check out the first link in the description. This is exactly what I do for a handful of brands, and this is exactly how I've gotten them performance like this, and this. Keep scaling. Bye.